Okay, so today I'm going to talk about this book, Alice in Wonderland and Through Looking Glass, and actually Adventures of Alice in Wonderland and Through Looking Glass. So, this is a children's book, which not for everybody, obviously. If you are someone who likes to read things like Dostoevsky or philosophically heavy things, this book may not be for you. I'm trying to give a proper review instead of saying I like this book, which is actually I do. I like this book. It's very light-hearted, and I found Alice to be quite a sweetheart. To be honest, I actually like the not the original one, the Disney. This is the original Alice in Wonderland. So the Disney Alice in Wonderland, I actually like it. And even when I played Kingdom Heart, Alice is my favorite character, which is like, it's like pretty messed up that I did not get to play as Alice. I got to play as Tarzan and all these other people, but my favorite character, I couldn't play as her, but it was nice. So I like Alice. Okay, I think, is Alice a princess? No, right? If there was my favorite Disney princess, I would say Alice and Mulan, because Alice is she's stupid like me, and the world in Alice in Wonderland, it's absurd. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's really absurd. This book, it's like to me, I'm just taking things out of my brain. It's an absurd book. I would say it's pre Albert Camus absurd, which is pretty nice. Like it's not in a sense absurd like Albert Camus philosophy. It's absurd like, when you read it, you understand that Alice is this little girl. You can see yourself in her, because day to day we also living in an absurd world. We see people acting in strange way. The world around us is strange. It's not strange as the Wonderland or the rabbit hole, but certainly the real world itself, it's strange, and you are just Alice stumbling through the world. But the difference between you and Alice, you don't think it's absurd and you try to make sense of it. But Alice, she don't care. She know it's absurd, and she find it queer, or like it's funny or something. And Alice is pretty much stupid, and I'm talking about this book like a philosophical novel, which is not what it's tend to do. I don't think so. It's when he wrote, he planned it to be a philosophical novel or anything. But when I read, maybe I'm reading it too deep. But I find there are lots of philosophical things in it, very similar to Albert Camus, but different. Like in Albert Camus' Stranger, see, in Stranger, Albert Camus' Stranger, it's the stranger is the absurd, right? Even the world, it's absurd, because he in the, let's not talk about it. Like, okay, let me get a little bit into the Stranger, right? In Stranger, the stranger, the main character, is absurd, right? And the world is not that absurd. His court case become absurd when, instead of talking about the murder, these people talking about he did not cry at his mother's funeral, which it is absurd, right? They're not talking about the murder. And in Alice's case, Alice is somewhat who I would say she's just going with the flow, right? Go down the rabbit hole, and she these things absurd, and she don't really mind it. She's very simple minded. I think that's a very happy way to live, and I admire that about Alice, which I cannot say that much for myself. Which the reason I pick up to read a children's book, because lately I wasn't doing very well, because I'm not blaming on the books I read, and there are some external factors as well, but the books I read didn't help. Like I read some Dostoevsky book and some Friedrich Nietzsche, which can be bit, bit not that great. Those books don't make you feel good. Even the George Orwell book, these are great books. Those are great books, but sometimes it will mentally drain you. Sometimes it will make you think, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. No. So that's why I ordered two children's novels. One is this Alice in Wonderland and Through Looking Glass. So I just read the Alice in Wonderland, Adventures of Alice in Wonderland. I'm keeping Through Looking Glass to read later, after I finish Coming Up for Air, which, if anything, I know what to expect from George Orwell. He's not going to make me happy. The reading Burmese Days was really depressing. It really made me depressed. And this one, and I order Winnie the Pooh, which I think I want to balance things, I like reading classical book. I'm not saying it's hard because of the language problem. It's hard because it makes you think. It's sometimes make you lose sleep at night. But these books, it's make you laugh. This Alice, she make really stupid remarks about. She meet in the first part, she meet a rat, and she talk with this rat about her cat. I think her cat is Diana or something, like Dunaya. Yeah. Then she tell to the rat, "Oh, my cat, I have this cat, you will like her. She is very good at hunting rats." Like, Alice, maybe don't talk about cats in front of the rats. Like, it gives really, in real world, you go to a corporate meeting or somewhere, and this corporate overload, they are saying something so stupid. We are this family, we are all that. If you say, "No, we are not family," and they will look at you like, what the fuck wrong with this guy? Is he oh God, that actually happened to me, by the way. So yeah, Alice is stupid, but in a good way. She is nice, and I really like Alice. And after this, she talked to her. She meet the rat, right? After she talk about her cat, and the rat doesn't like that at all, obviously, because rats, they don't like cats. And Alice said, "Okay, well, let's not talk about cats. Dogs. I like dogs. And my neighbor had a dog, and my neighbor said he's very good at, always, whatever she talk about, always come out wrong, But it's actually a funny book. It's made me laugh. It's a nice book. I would recommend it to someone who just want entertainment, not something deep. If you want something deep, it is deep, I would say. It's actually very deep if you really think about it. It's like absurdism before absurdism, right? You will notice things that the Wonderland, which Alice go through rabbit hole. It's not so much different from the world we are living right now, at least. That's the way I feel. The real world is not so much different from the Wonderland. So I guess that's a review, the review of Alice in Wonderland. And man, I need to cut my hair also. I will probably make a review about Through the Looking Glass. Maybe not, but I'm sure that one also nice. It's just, this one is like a, what you can say, like a palate cleanser, palate cleanser. If I read something heavy, what I was doing before was, if I read something psychological, like Myth of Mental Illness, or like something from Sigmund Freud, I would directly go to a novel, and after that maybe a philosophy. But now, for some reason, most of the books I have is not happy books. To be honest, those are not happy books which I have. I have Iliad, which is, I think it's happy. The war, nothing can go wrong there. Probably it's going to be hard to read because it's a very ancient book. It's predate even Plato, I think. So it could be hard. But so now what I'm trying to do, if I read, I will read a book, then I will decide after reading it, was it like gut wrenching, or was it like, did that make my feelings somewhat uncertain, or does this make me depressed, does this make me lose sleep? Then I would pick up a children's book and read, maybe a comic book even. But I would not read Note from Underground and then go to Coming Up for Air, or Keep the Apistria Flying, because it's, see, what I'm trying to say is, those books are great, but those books make me sad, which sometimes with the real life, being sad is not that, not a great thing to do, because I in itself, I like to have like a normal life. I don't want always think about this philosophical stuff. What is this? Why people do these things? Why people do that thing? That's one of the reasons I don't really use lots of social media as well. So it's fair to say, Alice helped me to come back to earth a little bit. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. Cheers. If you watch this video, I don't know, subscribe, like, do whatever. Like, I mean, if you subscribe, it's great. Like, yeah. Cheers. Alice in Wonderland and Through Looking Glass. It's a great book. It's two books actually. It's a collection, right? Cheers.